Good, beautiful morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul, where you have an opportunity to find actual practical information that will help you literally take shortcuts to awakening and self-awareness. Today, I have with me the energy of a group called the Ascended, who want to talk about the concept of moving beyond survival. It's a very interesting thing they were saying to me this morning, that humans are different from other animal species on this planet because we had made a decision to go beyond what biology would allow us to operate as animals, because that's essentially what your body is. It's an animal. And we made a choice as a species to awaken, to move beyond the impetus, the need, the function of survival exclusively, which is what the animal kingdom in and of itself exists in. It exists through and from survival of the fittest, survival of the biggest, survival of the most adaptable. We made a decision that we would develop this thing called free will. We had made an agreement with the Creator that we wanted to experience what it is actually like to be the Creator, to be as that which made us. When that decision was made, there was a shift in the evolutionary path of life forms branching into the human realm, where we cultivated the function of free will, the ability to operate independent of biology's governance. In other words, we no longer simply allowed ourselves to be governed exclusively by the compulsions of the body alone, that we could utilize elements of consideration such as free will, the ability to think and reason and choose. We made a decision, and it was granted that we would have the opportunity through our self-awareness to give ourselves the opportunity to know that which created us. To know it, you have to become it. To know the divine, you need to become the divine. And if you consider that, what does that mean? The challenge that many of you face is that you still are trapped in the default settings of survival. Many of you are trapped in the default settings of survival. The ability to move beyond just the mere act of self-preservation from a biological perspective, recognizing that the body ought not to be that which determines what you will think, say, and do, but your curiosity, your need to know beyond the mechanics of survival is very important. And you made that decision, and there's a small percentage of humanity that is beyond survival in the sense that they've learned to use their reason and the logic to secure, manipulate, control, and have power and authority over certain individuals for their own benefit. But a very smaller percentage have actually stayed true to the original choice. That is, to know your Creator, to emulate it and become the Creator. Imagine that there is something that made that body that you are living in right now. You did not make that body that you're in right now. It was fashioned for you. And yet the body comes with certain foundational abilities: the desire to eat, the desire to sleep, the desire to procreate, the desire to experience sensations, the desire to avoid discomfort and pain. It's rudimentary and serve the purpose. If you are just simply a body, those elements of survival are useful if you believe and accept yourself only as a physical body. But if you come to an understanding to know that you are not only your body, then you're in the realm of creation. you're moving away from the mere direction of the divine's hand guiding you on when to eat and when to sleep and when to procreate, such as you see in the rhythms of nature. In the rhythms of nature, you see the birds will fly from one part of the world to another. Ocean creatures will swim from one part to another, a function called migration, which is necessary for the survival of these creatures. Just as there are many other creatures in the animal kingdom that also follow according to the function of the seasons. Only in the realm of humanity do you see consciousness striving beyond the mere act of survival, where you have become adaptable and functionally creative beyond what the physical body in and of itself would allow you to consider. That so many of you are in this broad spectrum of awakening from being mere animals to beginning to understand your divinity, while the vast majority of you, if you want to look at it as a functional pyramid, the vast majority of you are on the bottom of that pyramid, still attached to the survival impetus of the body and allowing the body to be that which governs what you will eat, what you'll sleep, what you'll think, what you'll say, what you'll do. That was not the original decision. The original decision was to know your creator, to know that which beats your heart. Survival requires that you do certain things from the perspective of biology. Reason allows you to transcend those natural, baser impulses of biology. The capacity to think or not to think. These are elements of your consciousness, your awareness, that a large percentage of you have not consciously and deliberately engaged. And in more recent times, many of you have begun to degrade yourselves back into the baser needs of biology on a very large scale. It does not matter how much knowledge you have, it's how aware you are of the function of creation. This was a decision you all made. And so you find yourselves out and beyond the safety of being a mere animal into the unknown realm of deliberate functional creation. Every one of you is in that position right now. Some of you more so than others. There are many of you that are suffering in your attempt to simply operate from survival, but you're endowed with the capacity to reason, to think, to weigh, to measure intelligently, to move beyond the pleasure of mere sensational senses into the realm of deliberate functional creation, to know and emulate the creator that fashioned you in its image and likeness. And so you have this unique opportunity that is before each and every one of you to move beyond mere survival. If you understood that the physical instrument is simply a medium through which your consciousness is able to express and experience itself for the purpose of fulfilling the understanding that you are in the image and likeness of a certain creator, you are. It's not that difficult if you begin to understand that choice is not something that should be based exclusively in the function of biology. There are many of you have reached various degrees of transcending the function and assertion and influence of fear. And there are many of you who have simply lost yourself in the patterns of control, power, and authority, where that gives you a different degree of safety than the lower vibrational elements and impetuses of survival itself. While those of you that are of a higher intelligence, a certain percentage of you are loaning yourself to the exclusive focus of being able to provide all humans with the opportunity to acquire the knowledge and the wisdom to eventually know the creative intelligence that fashioned you to think and say and do what you're thinking, saying, and doing, and to have the free will to transcend what your mind thinks even. This is another element. For the mind is very intimately connected to your body. They're very intimately connected. And if you can't make that distinction, then you can be trapped equally in the compulsions of the body as you can in the fantasies of the mind, the beliefs, the ideas that you've acquired from this world that may or may not be true, may or may not be false. That is up to you to define and discern. But if you seek to make that which is true false, or that which is false true, you will find yourself equally trapped in a different function and form of survival than just the mere survival impetus of the body. Your social structures clearly indicate what level and degree you are currently existing on. That each and every one of you is endowed with the capacity for the function of reason and are able to utilize it or ignore it, well, it gives you the opportunity to become more awake and aware or to fall deeper asleep. There is a certain effect to every cause. Individually and collectively, there are those of you that will survive the ignorance of the neglect that goes with the responsibility of not choosing to reason. If you choose not to reason, of course, you will have a very different experience, for you are neither an animal nor are you quite divine. One was given, the other is earned. Your divinity is earned. Your animal nature is given. It's part of your physical architecture, which influences and affects your mental structure. And we simply came to this one today to articulate this consideration for you, to make very clear that you made a decision collectively as a species to know the Creator, to know that which is capable of beating a heart, to know that which is capable of turning food into blood and skin and bone, to know that which allows you to glimpse new ideas and possibilities for existence, to know that intelligence that operated from the realm of being able to fabricate stars and planets and the whole structure of life as you understand it to be. If you begin to evaluate carefully, you can begin to move yourself away from survival into the emulation of that which is the Creator. Survival, again, on the animal kingdom is very precise and highly organized and orchestrated in such a fashion that the natural animal kingdom can essentially go on in perpetuity, for its checks and balances are already established within the biological architecture of animals. Within their biological architecture, the blueprint for perpetual existence exists on the form of a biological organism. In the realm of the soul, your awareness, your desire to move beyond survival, there's a level of responsibility that you get to assume, that you yourself, of your own free will, must walk away from the compulsions and impulses of biology exclusively, to learn to surrender the faculties of fear, the faculties of control and power and authority, and supplement them with functions of creation. If you understand the limitless nature of your Creator and you begin to emulate it, you would have no fear. If you understood that you can emulate the Creator, you would have absolutely no fear. It is easy to conquer the fears of the body itself. It's another consideration to conquer your fears of the world around you. And it is another consideration still to go and explore beyond with your consciousness, beyond the safety and the familiarity of this world. Many of you simply recycle back in through incarnation. But going beyond this world, beyond the senses, beyond thought, to know the true source and nature of that which fashioned you into existence, well, that is the real adventure that has only been undertaken by a scant few in the many millions of years that humanoid forms such as yourselves have existed upon this planet. Yet you have a chance. Every one of you that comes into a human embodiment is endowed with the function of free will. And your free will may be used for survival, to simply preserve and protect the existence of the body and the body alone, that is to eat, to sleep, to procreate, to keep your consciousness restricted primarily to that, or you may seek to pursue and know the very source of that which created you, which of course you have already decided, or you would not be here listening to these words. You made a decision to know the creator of life, to emulate it and become it, which is why so many of human innovation and creation stands in stark contrast to the realm of the natural world, the animal kingdom. You are creating technologies and ways of sustaining and maintaining life that no animal in and of itself can, but which the divine has sufficiently done and demonstrated in the animal kingdom, for the animal kingdom has far surpassed the human one in terms of its longevity in time, space, and matter. So we would encourage you to evaluate, at least this day, what can you do to move beyond mere survival? What can you do to move into the realm of understanding the function and facets of the effects of utilizing reason consciously and deliberately? We would encourage you to look for ways of not letting the body determine that which you will think or feel, believe or say or do, but to seek to pursue a higher understanding of yourself as a sentient consciousness that perceives the physical world through a physical medium. Understand that your body is not the sole locus of your identity, nor are the structure of thoughts in your mind the sole locus of your identity. And we choose that word soul very specifically, as in the S-O-U-L, spirit of universal light, consciousness. Your soul is the locus of your identity. If you begin to consider who you are beyond the mere sensations of the body, beyond the mere reflections of the mind, and you begin to contemplate and consider, who are you? You will begin to open your consciousness up to realms of information that are not available in the exclusivity of the mind and body, which are, of course, simply information acquired from your experience of this world alone. Only through deep reflection and understanding, not viewing yourself as only a body or a construct of thoughts, can you begin to pursue the nature of your awareness, what you truly are, how you are able to impact time, space, and matter in ways that you have not even begun to comprehend, but which some are beginning to reveal as your so-called creation of artificial intelligence is demonstrating that you are capable of articulating in a very similar fashion as the very creative intelligence that made you and all that you see and know with its consciousness, that you too may emulate this great benign intelligence capable of creating entire galaxies and dimensions in ways that are very simple, but you will learn this in the way that you learn this. So this has been my morning, is hearing this from them, that we need to consciously and deliberately choose to move beyond the survival impetus of our biology and the structure of our mental psychology that's been fashioned by this world alone. Who are you really? It's an interesting question. You know, you can examine your thoughts. You can examine your memories. You can consider future possibilities. Who are you that's doing that? Who are you that can observe your thoughts? Contemplate this. Contemplate. Who are you that watches your thoughts? Who are you that observes your memories? Begin to contemplate this observer that you are. Like, deeply go into it. You might be quite delighted and surprised at what you start to experience, because the minute you begin to consider the answer to that question, and they tell me this all the time, the more you contemplate this you that observes your thoughts, this you that observes the emotional function, the you that observes the biology in its desires and its wants and its needs, this observational self is the beginning of a more willful return to knowing the source that made you, that made your life, that made your existence, to know that you are that which you are seeking ultimately. Thank you. That is our message for today. Good morning, everybody. Hi, thank you. Glad you're here. Thank you. So when they first came to me this morning, it's funny, I always wake my alarm clock up. My alarm clock never wakes me up anymore. The things you can teach your mind and body to do is remarkable. Most people allow the world to teach their mind and body exclusively for them. They tell me that a lot of people are trapped in survival because there's been a structure of information and educational systems of learning that keep people trapped in survival. Many people think that survival requires great wealth and power to survive. It doesn't require great wealth and power to survive. It's pretty simple. Survival is fairly simple. But when you came into a human body, we made a decision that we wanted to transcend mere survival, not just be a body, to be a soul. Got a question here from Daniela. Sour is not sour, salty not salty, spicy not spicy. What is the message here for me? The message is to not try to define it, but to seek to know it. If you define it as sour or sweet or salty, then you experience the definition that you give to that. One might have made the error of calling that which is salty sweet, or that which is sweet sour. What would you believe then? The function of belief can liberate you or restrict you. The consideration should not be what that is, but who are you that is asking that question? Who are you that is asking that question? That you even have the capacity and capability to consider that question. It's better to pursue the one asking the question than simply the question or the answer to that question. Who are you that is asking the question? Seek to know that. Seek to know yourself. It will be significantly different for you. Hi. Any message for me? Survive my current state and put my heart at ease. Learn to teach your mind and body to be still. Take a slow, deep breath. Once you tell the body to take a slow, deep breath, that simple action puts you in the position, observably speaking, of assuming command and authority over the physical organism. So many of you do not understand the simplicity and wonder of this consideration, that the act of saying to the body, breathe, and guiding the body through the breath, that the body in and of itself would not naturally consider that as a possibility, as the body simply breathes according to its nature. But when you acquire conscious and direct authority over the body, you begin to move away from the body's control and authority over you. Breathe slow, breathe deeply. Put your body into a state, because you can do this with your breath. You can use the breath and put your body into a state where it does not distract you or pull your energy and keep you trapped in the physical world exclusively. You want to put your body into a position where it is no longer enshrining your awareness in physical dimension exclusively. And through the breath, you get the body quiet and calm and peaceful. Then you use the same function of your breath and guide your mind, the thoughts, the noise, the static that goes on in the field of thought. That you turn your attention to the mind using the same apparatus of the body's breath. and you slow and quiet your mind down. It's designed to follow your directions. As you can notice, even right now, that the function of this body is following the actions of the breath, that the functions of the world around it do not disturb or take away from the focus of what we're directing the body and the mind to do through the utilization of its breath. Holding onto the breath gently, quieting the body with the breath, using the breath, quieting the mind with the breath. Your body and your mind cannot quiet themselves. They can be quieted by you, or they can be influenced by something other than you, such as us speaking through this body to you and giving you instructions. Your mind and body are designed to react and respond to information provided to them. That's the way they're designed. That's how you're able to acquire authority or give that authority to others. When you were simply just an animal, that is, when you just believed you were only a body and a body exclusively, then the function of your consciousness was determined by the nature of instinct. When to sleep, when to eat, when to procreate, which were governed exclusively by systems in the body that could do that. When you awoke as a soul and decided, I want to know more about my life than simply being a body, well, here you are. But the very simple function of your breath is the keynote starting point for beginning to reclaim the autonomy and authority over your distressed state. So teaching your mind and body to be calm, quiet, and peaceful, and teaching your body and your mind to do this, you begin to awaken yourself to the function of your soul, not being governed by the impetus of the structures of thought or the sensations of biology. So if you want to put your heart at ease, use the function of the breath to quiet your mind and quiet the body. When the mind and body are sufficiently quiet, your perception begins to open up to other realms than the physical and mental dimensions. The mind and body are placed into a position where they're quieter, calmer, and more peaceful. Then your awareness begins to be liberated from the confines of them. You spontaneously begin to, well, think of it as you want to put your children to bed in the evening because there's so much busyness with them, and you put the child to sleep, and now you kind of go, the children are asleep, and you feel more at ease. Well, your body and your mind, you must learn to put them asleep, so to speak, so that you as soul can begin to know thyself, the self that we've been speaking about, that is beyond survival, beyond the confines of your mind. This is the self that will restore peace to you. Hi, good morning. I got Phoenix here saying, good morning, everyone. What you just said reminded me of what's talked about in the Gospel of Philip about the bridegroom chambers and how to ask oneself who's observing the thoughts. Every time we do this, it closes the gap between two worlds, the human self and the divine guidance. When we become whole, we no longer walk as fragments. And that is absolutely true. When your mind and body no longer govern you and you govern them, you shift from survival consciousness to creation consciousness. Really wonderful consideration. Thank you so much for that. What are your thoughts about moving beyond survival? Thank you for the hands-on hearts. Thank you for the gifts on TikTok. When I'm transmitting the message, it's free-flowing, and I don't have a chance to respond the same way. I'm aware that it's happening, but I don't want to break the continuity of the information that's being brought through, because different people need to receive it in different ways. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Remember, if you like this content, like, subscribe, share, and follow. It would be really appreciated. It tells the algorithm to put this information out to more people. Hi. Well, hello there. Good to see you again. Hello. Hi there. Thank you. Nice to see you too. How can I heal my brain? I can't focus. ADHD, meds. How can I make my brain ready for studies? Sign up for Masterclass 101 Awakening. It doesn't start until June, but in our master classes, I channel the Ascended Masters and other multidimensional beings, as do our other mediums. But we also introduce you to different types of eating formats. It's a 3-week program, runs from Sundays to Friday. It's an hour to 2-hour lesson every single day for 3 weeks. And you'll learn to not only connect to your guides and angels, you'll learn to reclaim the natural autonomy and authority you were designed to have over your mind and body. When you made the decision that you didn't want to live from survival, you wanted to know where you come from. You moved away from just being guided like all animals are. Animals are guided by the divine's conditioning and programming of them. That's why birds are very predictable. Animals are very predictable. Animals are predictable because they follow very structured patterns when they procreate, when they eat, when they sleep, when they go after food. That's all predetermined biologically. As a soul, when you made the decision that you want to know where you came from, well, that default setting of instinct was put to the back burners. It's still with you. It still makes your body hungry. It still makes your body avoid pain and seek pleasure. You still have instinct in your body, but you also have this other facet of the self called reason. So you really want to get involved in some form of learning that teaches you how to awaken your soul. Now, the date for the 101 is not up on the website yet. That'll be being put up today. But I highly encourage, if you want to go to a good starting point, sign up for Masterclass 101 Awakening. The registration will open today. And again, it doesn't come around until sometime in June. But it will take you on the journey that you're seeking to know. We've had hundreds of students that have experienced something similar over the last few years, where they shifted their consciousness from pure survival to creation. And it's a beautiful thing to see. Hi. Your brain will heal. Any part of the body can be conditioned to heal. Can we start earlier? Well, you can start right now. I mean, coming to these live events. These are free live events. You know, we do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if you follow some of the simple things they say here, you can begin to liberate yourself right now. Just the mere act of assuming authority over your breath can begin to restore your mind and body to peace. ADHD, okay, are just labels given to a state of emotional imbalance. And there's been so much television, mass media conditioning that have perpetuated the polarity of fear. The polarity of fear and calmness have been perpetuated. Many humans have been forced into a state of fear, and that fear dominates and manipulates your peace. Again, most of the shows you'll watch on television or things you'll listen to or activities you'll observe are fear-based control and power. And if you're exposing your mind to like a TV show that's keeping you in fear of a disease, or you're watching a TV show that like The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones, where violence and aggression and distrust and seeds of evil are sown all the time, that affects your mind. That affects you. Stop watching television. Stop watching these shows that polarize your mind and keep you in a constant state of fear. Right? There's so much in this world that's perpetuating fear in people. Stop it. You'll just stop watching some of that stuff. Your mind will go to a state of peace. Stop watching the news. Right? Unless you have good control over your faculties, you can't watch those types of things because your brain can't distinguish between fantasy and reality. It doesn't have that capacity. Only you do. That's where you can start. The earliest you can start is in June. I mean, we got our Masterclass 103 that starts this Saturday, but it's more of an advanced program. You can certainly gain benefit from it, but you'd miss the foundational elements that are so important. The very practice of how to breathe your body, how to understand your mind, how to understand memory, how to understand the awakening process, that you're not just a mind, you're not just a body. There's foundations that need to be put in place so that when you go into these other levels, that you'll understand them really easily and effectively, because the foundation's there. If you didn't have the foundation of addition and subtraction, it'd be very difficult to understand the foundation of division and multiplication. Well, the same thing's true for this process of awakening. If you don't understand that you have a body, you have a mind, you are a soul, there's an energy, an immortal energy, it's very difficult to understand how to utilize that knowledge if you don't have it. And again, most people believe they are their thoughts. Most people believe they are their body. Most people believe they are their memories. And conditions like many of the diagnosed conditions, ADHD, are polarized emotional states. You're going back and forth in fear, calm, up, down, anxious, depression, polarities of emotion that can be easily taught to regulate them effectively. You can easily teach your mind and body how to quiet, calm, and be peaceful. Even thinking those words to your mind slowly and deliberately: quiet, calm, peaceful. You could repeat those words slowly and deliberately in your mind, to your thoughts, to your emotion. Quiet, calm, and peaceful. And notice the way in which it's being said. You can restructure your internal communication between yourself, your mind, and your body. You can govern it. We teach that in our master classes. The Ascended Masters teach everybody how to do that in the simplest and easiest way possible. And if you want to know more about that, go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com, and check that out. Hi. Good morning, Maureen. Good to have you there. Who is this? Someone's asking, who is the strong presence behind my back lately, rubbing my shoulder blades? I'm getting this is a great grandfather on your mother's side. This is a great grandfather on your mother's side. Yeah, cool. Hi, Tara. Good to see you. Thank you. Tara is asking, I took notes so I can go back and read what you said. I heard the new war is a spiritual war of the awakening of Christ consciousness. Is that true? Am I understanding this correctly? Yes, it's a war between survival and creation, power and control, love over fear. That's ultimately the journey, the part of the journey the human population is in right now. And when you understand that human emotion affects matter, time, and space, I'm going to say that again. It's so important. Human emotion affects matter, time, and space. That the vast majority of humans are still living in survival, and a small percentage are living in creation over those people, controlling them for their sake. And then there's an even smaller percentage that are really engaged in the embodiment of God's love and grace. And that small percentage is what's keeping humanity moving forward. Those that believe and understand their relationship with God really understand that love is the way, peace is the way, but understand how to assert that in a way that's meaningful are the ones keeping humanity somewhat on track right now. A lot of the suffering on the planet that you're seeing with humans are caused by a small percentage of people that want all the marbles to themselves. But if you drive across the United States, you drive across Canada, you drive across Mexico, there is so much space. There's no lack in this world. There's more than enough room for everybody to have a home and raise a family. That's there, available for everybody, but you have to learn how to create it as well. You have to learn creation. Yeah, I do understand that, Tara. Thank you for asking. It's Facebook is now showing Facebook people can make questions. That's wonderful. Hello, I'm totally multidimensional. I have Kundalini rising through me. Wonderful. Congratulations, Paul. How many guardians are with me? This is a good question. Guardian angels, ascended masters, other multidimensional beings, galactics, others. The ones that are going to be with you are the ones that you require. There's a structure. If you understand how matter and energy organize themselves, you'll begin to understand which beings are with you. The closer you are to love, the closer you are to working with beings that are in that bandwidth of frequency. If you're closer to anger and fear and guilt and shame, then you'll attract entities that are very low vibrational spectrum. We're seeing a lot of demonic possessions going on the planet today because people are in a very low vibrational survival place. Whereas there are also beings that function in love and grace and compassion and excitement, and creativity, and they work with ascended masters. So the answer is it depends upon the level of the frequency of your vibration, because that will change. If you raise your vibration up, then you might not need to have the guidance of a guardian angel, Joseph. You might shift around and your consciousness changes, and suddenly Joseph leaves, and then you might get Marissa coming in, and then she works with you. And different beings will come in according to your vibrational state. Your emotional energy determines the vibrational frequency and the beings that you're going to attract or repel from your experience. So yeah, Christ consciousness is where you're getting closer to that being that you would call Jesus or Yogananda or Buddha or Zarathustra. There's many beings that operate on that frequency of Christ consciousness. There are many beings that function on the frequency of kindness. So the guides and angels that you have are ultimately dynamically shifting and changing as you dynamically transform and change your consciousness. That's a really good question. I'm really glad you asked it. And again, so that changes all the time. Thank you so much. Appreciate those roses. Thank you so much. I'd like to know if there's a message from my autistic friend has gone silent. This is what I've been told from my guardian angel about autism. Autism is not a natural condition. It was a fabricated manifestation by, I'll just leave it at that. When the function of what you call classical autism is various degrees, and they got high functioning autism and low functioning autism. And it simply means this, that the awareness of the individual, if they're high functioning, the soul is more differentiated from body than those who are very low functional autism, who are more integrated with biology. They're in the subconscious or subjective field of being. And so people who are in the very, very unconscious state or the lower functioning element of autism are very subjective and amenable to the moods of emotional energy around them. If you want to connect to your friend's energy, just sit present with them. Be in a state of joy with them. Just be present with them, enjoy, and watch what happens to them. Because remember, when you're in a more subconscious field, you're more connected to all that is in the human collective unconsciousness. So you want to just emotionally communicate to them your love, your compassion, your joy. Like literally, they cannot, when they withdraw like that into this deeper layers of the subconscious, they don't hear words, they feel vibrations. That's, you can learn that if you understand that those that are really introvertedly autistic, they feel energetic vibrations. And if you go into a state of compassion or joy or kindness or peace around them, their demeanor will reflect that. And if it's chaotic, it will reflect that. Right? And really higher functioning autisms can be close to savant levels where they have access to the collective unconsciousness, but they also have access to a divine consciousness at the same time. Very interesting spectrum. But it was not a natural state for humans until the last 60 years or so. It was fabricated. How to stop thinking about what other people think of you? This is a great question. You got some great questions today. It's wonderful. The simplest way is to teach your mind to be still and to teach yourself to observe, to bring yourself into the present moment. We've designed an app that we're beta testing right now that will teach you how to do that. You really want to go deeply into that. Just teach your mind. Your mind and your thoughts are not you. That's why you can observe them. So you need to teach your mind to be still, to be quiet, to be peaceful. The simplest way that my guardian angel showed me a number of years ago, he said, William, take your left index finger and put it to your lips and make this sound and watch what happens in your mind. This is the sound. You just go like this. And even if you make that sound, your mind will suddenly go quiet. And you don't do it in a mean way. You do it gently and kind of like, and you can literally use that and quiet your mind. But you have to teach your mind to be still and quiet and peaceful. So many of you depend upon your mind to be active and are stimulated and overstimulated by the environment, controlled and manipulated by what goes on around you. You need to teach your mind. Do not leave the authority of your mind to the world around you. Reclaim that authority. Reclaim the authority over your mind. You can teach it to be still. You can teach it to be quiet. Many of the thoughts that your mind thinks are what stimulate many of the emotions you experience. So when you teach your mind to be quiet, your emotional field will also become calm, quiet, and peaceful. Is that not a wonderful consideration? Oh, I like that. Hi. Hello there. Hello, William. My brother lost his son 5 months ago. His grief is heartbreaking. He responds to me in anger quite a bit. I don't take it personally, however. I don't know how to best help comfort him. Tell him his son has been trying to communicate with him ever since that transition happened. Tell him these words, or at least get him to come to this channel and ask the questions himself. But he needs to quiet his mind and calm himself to hear his son's soothing love and grief. He needs to hear it. His son wants to soothe his grief, help him transcend it. But he has to learn to realize his son's presence is not determined by biology. If you understand that your life does not depend on your biology, your existence in this physical dimension depends upon biology. That you can eat, sleep, walk, you can touch things. Without a body, you still exist, but the functions of communication shift from biology to awareness. So tell your dear friend that his son has been trying to soothe him with his love so that he can overcome his grief. He needs to sit quietly, be in the energy of his son's presence. His son's been with him quite a bit since the departure. That's why he's feeling frustrated, because he can feel the presence. And it's very frustrating for a person that's not in a body anymore when they're coming close to you and you keep pushing away because you think they're dead. They're not dead. His anger's misplaced. Anyway, tell him that his son has been trying to soothe him with his love from his grief. So the son's communicating love to him. And if he sits quietly and peacefully, and anybody here can do this, if you can sit quietly and call forth the energy of your loved ones and be present with them. Jesus talked about this. He said, just because your body ceases to exist, you do not cease to exist. There's a life beyond the flesh. And there is. And you need to understand that. So if you've got a loved one that you've lost, even if it's from generations ago, you can connect to their spirit. You can connect to their love and their grace. And I find that often happens when people's loved ones leave the physical dimension. They hang around because they can see the pain and suffering. They don't want to see you suffer. So they come close to you. When they come close to your field, they don't have a body, so they can't touch you. They can't hug you. Although some of them, I've observed some of them have actually been able to physically interact. But their energy will come close to you. And if you're sensitive enough, you'll feel the presence of their love and their grace. It's pretty profound when you can change your sensitivity from only perceiving biologically to perceiving energetically. And I've watched many people that have overcome grief in a very short period of time once you begin to connect to that realm of existence. Because once you know they're not dead, they're just not in the physical dimension, you can go on with your life here because they're going on to a new life as well. But it's very difficult sometimes to leave people suffering, especially when you love them. So those that leave the body will often stick around to try and assuage your suffering so that you can get on with your life. Right? But a lot of people want to hold on to the illusion of suffering. I know it might be foreign for some of you to hear this, but it really is true. Your loved ones do not cease to exist because the body is no longer present. They are simply shifted to a different level of existence that your eyes and ears cannot perceive them. You can't touch them. You can't smell them, although that happens. My biological father, when he comes around at times, I get this craving for a beer. Or if one of my other mentors comes along, I can smell cigarette smoke. And your loved ones, your guides, your angels will have certain nuances where they'll communicate. If Jesus is coming to me right now, I get this pillar of heat goes right through the center of my body. With Archangel Metatron, I feel somebody pushing me from behind. When you become sensitive, you can feel the presence of their energy. Do you want to learn to do that so you don't go through life on your own? Hey, Drusilla, glad you made it. Drusilla's asking, am I supposed to get a job? Question is, do you want to get a job? Do you want to? What do you want to do? If it's a supposed, something in you is pushing you that way. Hi. Great question, by the way. Hello. I hope that helps you. Good morning. Did I just do the right thing? Somebody wanted to stay here. He's frail. Again, I'm not sure the context of the question. Who is giving my children nightmares? I've already saged the house. Thanks. You need to teach your children. Remember, parents, please understand this. The emotional feelings you have affect your children. The thoughts you think affect your children. Whether you think them out loud or think them in the privacy of your mind, whether you have certain emotions inside, you can't hide your energy from people. So with children that are having difficulty in nightmares, learn to calm yourself. Teach your child to calm their mind. Teach them. During the daytime, we're just going to sit for a few minutes, kids, and we're going to breathe, and we're going to bring our minds to a state of peace. And get them to think visually of things that calm their minds. Saging the room is not going to solve it. Teaching them how to put their body to sleep. To tell their body that when it goes to sleep, it's going to sleep deeply and get a beautiful, restful sleep. And tell them to think these words. Write this down. Write this down for your children. Only love enters my space. Only love leaves my space. Like really go deeply. Give that statement to yourself even, because you got a lot of stuff going on in your mind that your kids are picking up on. You've got to stop letting fear enter your mind. Just because you're keeping it to yourself doesn't mean it doesn't affect your children. Parents, whether your children are young or grown up, your thoughts and your emotions are broadcast to your family system more intimately than to other people. So what you think, what you feel is affecting your family system, whether it's spoken or not. So please give that one to your children. Only love enters this space. Only love leaves the space. And then ask them as they're saying or thinking those words, how do those words feel? Because you want to shift them into the feeling of love entering this space. Once they shift their energy in that love, it takes them out of phase from the fear energy. Love is not fear. When you shift your energy from one state to another, you're no longer in the former state, but you have to teach your body and mind to do that. You have to teach children how to do that. Oh, thank you for that super chat. Really appreciate it. Does Lake Superior have any messages for me? Hi, SJK. Just be calm. Be calmer. Be calmer. Be calmer. It's really simple, isn't it? I appreciate that. Hi, thank you. Thank you for watching. Hi, thank you so much. Is there a message? Yeah, again, we've already covered that one. You're right. He does respond to love and peace. Remember, you have a body and you have a mind that's yours. Most people have let the world program your mind and body. And many people defer that control and power to the world. You're told when to eat, when to sleep, when to stand, when to sit, when to go to school. You're told what to think and be, and you get programmed by the world. And so most people depend upon that programming to tell them when to think, when to eat, when to sleep. But that's not your natural state. Your natural state is to ascend your energy. So yes, even not just autistic people, but anybody, you can communicate your love and grace to anyone and change their energy. You don't even have to say a word. You can just be in an energy of love. And you can influence and affect people. You can be in a state of excitement. I was watching videos on people laughing last night, and I spent a good hour just laughing because it's an infectious thing. Laughter and joy are infectious, but so is fear, so is anger. Any emotional state can get you can get addicted to any emotional state. There we go. Thank you. Someone saying, I told my son to say, I will not have bad dreams before he goes to sleep. Then I say, you have a beautiful white bubble of light all around you. That's a really good thing to do, Amanda. Great suggestion. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, we're almost completed for today. Any message from my father? Is he upset about what my siblings put me through? He's telling me that it's not about your siblings. It's about you recognizing how beautiful and wonderful you are, to not define yourself or see yourself through their eyes. If it will help you, he's saying, then see yourself through my eyes of love towards you. See me through the eye of love that I saw you through. If you're going to defer how you will perceive yourself by others, it will be very difficult. Remember, if you define yourself by what other people think, say, and do, it can be a very difficult path in this life. And I know because I lived like that for many years. Hi. Can you connect with my teacher, Abdul Hamid, and convey his message to me? You just did right now, like that feeling of peace that you get when you spoke his name, because that's what he wants you to stay in alignment with. Stay in alignment with peace. Inspiration will come the longer you sit in peace. This is what he wants you to know. Very peaceful man. I love him. Great energy. Hi. Hi. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. Kindly, can you tell me if my father is a... Oh, yeah, we got that. Thank you. Can you connect it? Yeah, we got that too. I keep blocking you. Do not have my permission to enter into my energy or access my essence. That's fine. You can do that if you want. Only love enters this space. Only love leaves this space. He left me the house as we were doing the will, but he passed before signing it. Well, again, the things of the world are not as important as the things of the spirit. Things of the world are important in terms of how they can take care of your body and keep you healthy and happy. But the lesson was not about power and control here. The lesson is understanding his love is more valuable than any other consideration. Isn't that more important? You embody his love. That's what he wants you to do. Embody love. The love that he taught you. He left you the house as an act of love, but it was not the source of that love. The house is not a source of his love. It's just the extension of it. Again, people do stupid things when loved ones die. You know, they really do. I've watched horrible things happen. When it comes to money and loved ones, it's insane that they leave you things because they want you. It's an extension of their love, but it's not the source of their love. People get caught up in the things as being the source. It's not. You know, families tear each other apart over stuff. It's ridiculous. That's a personal opinion, by the way. Reading through the veil. Can I have a message from Spirit for my path? Again, you need to enter into the stillness more than the pursuit of purpose. Enter into the stillness from where will emerge the insight and inspiration needed to fulfill your purpose. You'll not find the fulfillment of the purpose by what you acquire or gain from this world. The fulfillment of your purpose will come from within you. You must go to that place within. Go to that place within and receive the dispensation that your mind and body need to carry out the function of your will, your divine will, not your human will. That's cool. You're very welcome. I think we're complete today, everybody. I want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. Students of Masterclass 103, we're going to see you in a couple days. On Saturday, Masterclass 103, creation begins. 2 weeks of fun and excitement. I want to wish each and every one of you love. Patreons, we'll see you in about another 6 days. And have yourselves a wonderful, joyful day. If you want to know more about what we do, go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com, and you can check out all the services. I do one-on-one readings as well. You can get that book. And make certain that you consider that possibility that only love can enter your space and only love will leave your space. I want to wish you all much love. Have a wonderful and a joyful day, and I will see you on the Friday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. Bye for now.